I will start with first, Damineh, thank you for joining us. And what I learned is that you are an investment principal for Boeing HorizonX venture based in Silicon Valley. And Abhishek Shukla, he moved from GE Venture and Cisco prior to HP Pathfinder Venture. So, and Abhishek, we were honored last year in 2019 to have you in person speaking at our event. So, how is different now being online versus prior to being in person here in Europe, in Slovenia?
Yeah, no, it's surreal. First of all, thanks for giving me the opportunity. I think last year it was great. It was the first time I visited Slovenia. You guys were, are greatly hospitable, but at the same time, the event, the content, the people, the networking, I think all was super, and I really enjoyed my time there. Obviously, I would have loved to be back there for the second time, but given the gloom and the bad which you can see in California fires and all the things around the pandemic, this is the best we'll have to make this year. But looking forward to this conversation and happy to be here.
Yeah, and no worry. Next year we have another opportunity to do it in person. But what we were doing on the event last year was really building an ecosystem between executives from different brands to exchange and learn from each other. And now we are doing this virtually. So, Damineh, now in this time when we all work from home, how difficult it is to build ecosystem, how difficult it is to engage and basically innovate and work with startups, and how the let's say we see community prioritized now in this time.
So great question. There's a lot to unpack there. I think starting in March, we really started going into different phases. The first phase was really focusing on internal portfolio, figuring out what this all means, the world of unknown, and really figuring out where the portfolio companies that pivot, where are the portfolio companies that are in triage, and how do we help them. And then I think as time has passed and we've kind of figured out what the new norms are going to be, it's been tough doing due diligence, especially in our business where there's a lot of networking and face-to-face and human interaction and getting to know their founders and fellow colleagues. So I think in that sense, it's been challenging in not being able to travel and actually see the offices and the interactions and the culture that exists. So I think everyone is adapting and getting to know what the new norm is and figuring out how long we'll have to continue this. But we've certainly kind of gone through the cycle of panic and trying to figure out what this unknown and reality is to kind of getting a grasp around how we can address it and how we need to adapt. So I think that's kind of been our journey for the past 6 months now, or 7 months.
So what I learned is that we just adapt what we humans do for thousands and thousands of years. And Abhishek, how you adapt that, because you work globally on almost all continents, and now with all these restrictions, and how you manage to overcome those challenges?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. Depending upon the geography, the world is a very different place today. If it's Asia, some of the people, some of the geographies have moved on. Pandemic isn't the biggest challenge they have. Europe, somewhat similar. You guys know this better. America is still firmly in the grip. So with Latin America. So as I look out to my team, whether it's in India or in Israel, or talking to them across Asia, I think a couple of things are happening. One, people like to get comfort in in their existing deals. So irrespective of the geography, what you're seeing is people are going back to their successful portfolio companies and doubling down on them. More specifically in the US, you see that happening quite a lot. But in the early stage, like if you're in Asia, the business is it's not completely as usual, but it's getting close to that. Whereas in the US, I think it's fairly depressed in terms of if you're an early stage company, unless you are a super credible founder or you have a lot of interesting VCs and a super awesome technology. It's going to be challenging for you to raise fund at this time. Not to mention that it can't happen, but it's just more challenging. However, if you are a late stage company and you have done well, the capital hasn't gone away, irrespective of you being in Asia or in Europe or in Americas. In fact, people have more capital to deploy. If you compare the last year I think it was 55 billion or so. This year it's about 60 billion or so year till date. Point being, there's more capital lurking around with lesser places to go. What that means is, in the later stage, you see a lot of companies raising huge valuations. You guys all read about this. A lot of rounds being led, and for a change, for the past about Damineh talked about that. World is getting normal a little bit, so you start seeing the tech companies thinking about IPOs. So last month and this month, there's about 7 companies going for an IPO. That is a fantastic change of pace, if you will, than what it has been since we all got here.
Yeah, it's really well. We see this progress going on, but what we also see is that a lot of industries are at crossroads, and basically they are entering to new markets. So, for example, Boeing, is also now more and more active in the space of, let's say, urban air mobility, how we will travel in mega cities in third dimension. And there are a couple of opportunities over there.
Yeah, we actually last year announced our joint venture with Mihawk, and the new company is called Risk, and it is a commitment in what the future of mobility will be like. When you think about the time saved versus sitting in congested area, congested traffic, and this pandemic has also given us more information on what will the future of travel look like in terms of passengers feeling confident getting on these platforms, and really from the journey that it starts from you booking all the way to gate check-in. And how do we, as an OEM, play in the world of the passenger journey and bring that confidence now with the pandemic in mind, and still ensure that what the future holds in terms of autonomy, electrification, and giving back that precious time that you have back to your passengers. So we've taken a lot of bets in our venture portfolio as well. With our investment in Matternet, which actually has been terrific in the pandemic, delivering medical supplies to senior citizens and taking out a lot of those touch points. So we still remain very committed in this area and have made investments and continue to follow on and look for new opportunities.
Yeah, so the investment in Risk is really amazing. We are following it. Also, you did some amazing partnerships with Porsche on working on different concepts, which we are keen to hear in future more about it.
Talk about the ecosystem, not just about
ecosystem. It's about really building partnership. Who thought that automotive OEM and aerospace OEM will work on joint approach? But also HPE is playing a role in mobility space, mainly investing in startups from emerging technologies like edge computing, quantum computing, cybersecurity, and so on. And what would be interesting that after our talk, the next speaker is coming from Daimler. He will talk about cloud offering built on HPE technology. So, Abhishek, how HPE will support this new mobility and the future of mobility with
I think a couple of threads there. One is obviously around the compute. There's a lot of data, a lot of sensors which are on any autonomous vehicle or any autonomous mobility vehicle. So all of that data needs to be crunched. Cloud is not an option because you can't incur the ingress egress fees, or there's just the latency requirement isn't there. So you will be computing there, which means you need compute which doesn't drain off your battery if it's an EV, so that before you start your Tesla car, in 10 miles it gives up because compute is given. So I think efficient compute is one part. The second part is about how do you secure all of that data? Everything is now automatic through your app and face recognition. And the autopilot capabilities. It makes it as easy to hack because everything is connected, all the sensors are talking to each other. How do you trust the platform which you're running on? Essentially, can I spoof, you to say, okay, you are running on Tesla's latest generation GPU product versus, some bad actor. The idea is security will be rooted not just in software, it will go down all the way to the hardware trust, which is where we are spending quite a lot of effort looking at a lot of startups come in the domain. The other piece is around not everything is IP, internet protocol, right? Not everything goes through TCP/IP. There's a lot of CAN buses in an automotive sector. There are a lot of other protocols which are there. How do you make sure that you're securing the data across these protocols, across these sensors? And the first and formidable challenge is for you to even understand what's going on. And I think that's an area of our active investment interest, where we are investing OT technologies, OT security companies. And then the compute piece, which I talked about, coming back to it, not every super sophisticated deep learning algorithm needed to be run on every camera in every car. How do you define the sophistication level of a DLL and what kind of data does it crunch? That will depend upon the kind of compute parameters that will depend upon the platform which you put in place. And we are looking at a couple of companies which you design your deep learning algorithm once, and then you can put it on a camera in call it 50 MB, or you can put it on a temperature sensor to tell you hot or cold for 100 KB. The point is same thing, different purpose. How do you improvise? The end result being you should be able to act in time. You should be able to process a lot of data still in time, and then while doing all of this, still be secure.
Yeah, it's per year. 100 million vehicles are sold globally, and more intelligent they are becoming. And then we will get the flying car air taxi VTOLs as well. So it's quite a lot of work. But before we conclude this fireside chat, which is really, quite exciting, Abhishek, I would kindly ask you, so in these times, how startups and large organizations can approach HPE venture?
Yeah, so I'll let Damineh answer this as well for Boeing. But I think for us, it is, nothing has changed. Focus on the fundamentals. Focus on creating a company. Don't worry about funding to begin with. Worry about, the product market fit. Worry about, is there a big enough market? What has happened during these times is the rationale, or if a person or if an entrepreneur is still going and creating a company today, I think that is a testament that that person really believes in that vision or in that idea. That itself is great, a great confidence booster. But focus on the fundamentals, assemble a great team, and then if you come to HPE or you go to Boeing, I think what we are looking for is not just to hand you a check, but also how can a story 1+1 = 3 can be realized. And as long as you guys focus on that, or the entrepreneurs focus on that, I think it's a win-win. So,
yeah,
Damineh.
well,
Yeah, that was spot on. I think that we've all heard that great companies come during these times, back in 2008 and 2000. So we're still very much looking, actively looking, and coming full circle, we're definitely looking for folks that are adaptive and really are able to partner with Boeing beyond just that financial check that we write, but also like how can we bring strategic benefit or value to the startup. So very much looking forward to working with entrepreneurs in this space, and please contact me.
yeah, thank you both for these, charming invitations, and I think quite a lot of, our audience will be quite excited to reach out to you both. So once again, thank you for being here, and all the best, from Europe, and hope to see you soon.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.